Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Hanis Nadiah binti Ruslan. Today I will present about a review of oyster shell waste as a concrete ingredient. First, as we know, concrete is the most commonly used building materials. Based on Hajat 2017, it seems concrete be the most widely used man-made material on the earth. However, despite the increasing use of concrete, there are non-renewable materials was used to produce concrete, such as water, cement, and aggregates. The excessive use of non-renewable materials have attracted the interest of the public, so many researchers conduct an experiment to use waste as material in concrete. In this paper, we'll focus on oyster waste as, according to the data supplied by commercial fishery companies, the production of oyster shell in the last 5 years have been 300,000 tons, which will increase environmental contamination issue. So, success in integrating this waste material as alternative mixing ingredient for concrete production would be able to reduce the use of precious non-renewable material obtained from the environment. There are several problems was occur that lead to use waste as material in concrete. First, to produce cement, the natural resources such as limestone, chalk, shale, clay, and sand has been used. Based on U.S. Environmental Protection Agency 2010, the raw material are mined, crushed, finely ground, and mixed to the required chemical composition, resulting in a degraded green area and climate. Next, according to Zhang et al. 2014, the cement industry, which contribute approximately 6% to global warming and anthropogenic greenhouse gas emission, is the most critical and significant source of greenhouse gas emission. Other than that, the manufacturing of raw material for cement production also produce a large amount of carbon dioxide that induce global warming. The next problem is excessive use of sand and gravel for construction industry. Based on United Nations Environment Programme 2019, after water, sand and gravel are the largest quantity of natural resources used on Earth. According to past researchers, rivers are the largest and most popular source of aggregate for a myriad of criteria. A few researchers has been stated the negative impact of sand mining to environment and society. First, sand mining can induce to loss of quality of water due to removal material and solid. Second, fishery industry can lose the productivity as the biodiversity and aquatic species threaten. And sand mining also can change the hydraulic system, such as change the depth of the river. And the last problem is oyster waste. According to one et al. 2013, oyster shell is a product of oyster processing, accounting for around 90% of the overall oyster mass, which lead to a significant volume of waste. According to past researchers, oyster waste can induce nauseating odor and unpleasant sighting as the waste take time to decay. Oyster waste also can infect aquatic species if the waste dumped back into the ocean. Lastly, oyster shell can produce toxic gases as decomposition salt in the oyster shell can lead to produce harmful gases. These properties of oyster shell is based on the past research. Oyster shell as cement replacement in concrete. Based on Mohsin et al. 2012, the content of calcium carbonate exceeding 90% in she shell are very similar to the calcium carbonate content of calcium dust used in the production of Portland cement. Generally, the use of oyster shell ash as partial cement replacement influences the concrete workability and mechanical properties. This is processing method to produce oyster as cement based on past research. Past researchers found different results for fresh properties as the fineness of oyster shell powder used also different. For instance, the researcher used passing 75 micrometer sieve and found that slump reduction with increasing oyster shell as content. And other researchers used oyster shell powder that passing 150 micrometer sieve and found that the slump keep increasing when the oyster powder added. For mechanical properties, the strength decreasing when the excessive percentage of oyster powder adding to concrete. Based on past research, use of oyster shell as at 15% produce concrete lower strength than control specimen. This is due to weak binding effect of the ash in contrast to cement. And the reduction in cement quantity affect the hydration process which is responsible for calcium silicate hydrate gel formation in concrete. Those lower the concrete capability to carry higher load. Past researchers also state that the encouraging performance of oyster shell as could be due to application higher temperature use during the burning of shell which result in formation of calcium oxide. Oyster shell as fine aggregate replacement in concrete. The issue of natural sand depletion and environmental destruction owing to river sand mining has opened the door for exploration of oyster shell waste as partial fine aggregate replacement in concrete. Generally, the inclusion of oyster shell as fine aggregate replacement affect the fresh and mechanical properties of concrete owing to the different characteristics of this waste as compared to sand. D is processing method to produce oyster shell as fine aggregate based on past research. Based on previous study, the result for slump test for oyster shell as fine aggregate keep decreasing. Past researchers state that the irregular particle shape cause the friction of the material to increase, resulting in reduced workability of concrete. And past researchers recommend addition of admixture to improve the workability of concrete mixture containing oyster shell as fine aggregate replacement. Oyster shell as fine aggregate show a positive result in strength. The compressive strength and flexural strength of oyster shell replacement is higher than control mix. The past researchers state that the inclusion of crushed oyster shell at small percentage able fill the existing void and 20% forming denser internal structure of concrete with improved strength. And the past researcher also state that excessive use of oyster shell cause adverse effect to concrete strength. As a conclusion, based on previous study, we can conclude that oyster shell has the potential to be used as partial fine aggregate replacement to produce concrete with target strength. And the usage of oyster shell would save the environment from pollution and reduce the consumption of natural sand from being overused. These are some of references that used for this presentation. That's all from me. Thank you.